Hey, you guys. I'm back again with another moment for you to release or ask an advising question if you have one. And what you can do is, if you feel comfortable, I'm going to drop a link in the chat for you to either call in or you can leave any questions you have or anything you want to release in the chat as well. And while I am waiting for any questions or anybody who wants to come in and release anything, I will be reading, but I'll be paying attention and I'll be able to hear if anybody calls in as well. Welcome, Whispers of Sound. I'm glad you're here to join me today. For the full supermoon, you would like to release anxieties and repressed emotions that your body has probably manifested into a panic attack. Yeah, the moment you told me about. Yes, please release that. Leave that here. And thank you. I'm just happy to hold this space for anybody who might need it. You said, what other questions can you ask? You've been wondering about money and also about twin flame stuff. As far as in my first live that I did let everybody know that because divine counterpart connections are so personal, that that's what I call twin flame connections, by the way. I call them divine counterpart connections. Because they're so personal, I won't be speaking about them on lives. It's too individual, and understanding for you may not be the understanding for somebody else. So, yes, Spirit has told me that it's better to focus on communicating with somebody in an individual setting, not a group setting for that. And as far as money, we can discuss that. But since this is your first live, you haven't seen any of my other lives, just know I'm not doing any tarot readings. I'm just giving advising pertaining to my own understanding, not reading tarot. But yes, you can pretty much ask anything that you're needing assistance with at this time. You said you were wondering about money. What exactly were you wondering in relation to it? If you'd like to share. Okay, so you're saying you're wanting to release anxieties about money as well, and also gain more of a I am set, I am abundant already mindset. I can understand that. And I think that the part of it you're already doing by acknowledging that you do have this anxiety, accepting that it is there. That is, I think, the first part of releasing it. Just allow yourself to feel it, allow it to, have its moment with you. And I do believe that'll help release it or assist you in releasing it. Sometimes we try to, because nobody wants to feel anxious or stressed out, sometimes we try to kind of suppress those things. So I think that you acknowledging it for what it is and bringing it to the front of your consciousness, not trying to run away from it, is a good thing as far as helping to assist you in releasing it. And also, yes, the beginning of moving toward a more abundant understanding for yourself is to just continue to think that understanding into existence. Everything begins with a thought, everything begins with a dream. So standing in that energy and reminding yourself, it could be hard to stand in that energy sometimes, of course, but whenever you can, just come back to the understanding of, I am in this abundant understanding. I am moving towards that. I will have all the things that I want. It's not about doing it perfectly. It's just always come back to it. Have Even when you don't have the moments of being able to sit in this, I feel like everything's going to be okay. That's okay too. Just remember, once it's done, to come back to that other understanding. Mm. I hope that makes sense or was helpful to you, Whispers of Sound. What I think I may do also, because I have noticed that people tend to like to leave their questions and um, things in the chat more than calling it, is I may also open up a Discord for you guys the Friday before I do my lives. That way you can leave questions to be answered that Saturday. That way it'll make it easier for you. And that way, if because the chat can move pretty fast, and also I know there's a lag in the chat, so I might not immediately see what you leave. Yeah, I definitely think you're on the right track. It kind of, what you were saying kind of makes me think about something a message spirit gave me in the past, that it's not that it promises our Creator promises that we'll never experience pain or hardship. Its promises that we'll always have the free will to return to love, to return to that better understanding for ourselves. We'll always have the opportunity. And it's not to say that it'll be easy, but you'll always have that option, to release that energy, step out of that old understanding, and come back to love. You said, how do I handle my stressors? It depends. Sometimes it can be, good to have somebody to talk to about it. A lot of times I find myself just trying to puzzle out the message or understanding that spirit wants to give me in relation to, what is stressing me. And it often helps. Sometimes I have conversations with, often, not sometimes, a lot of times I have conversations with my creator, and that helps too. And they're not always, um, calm conversations. I think that sometimes what people do is when they feel stressed or anxious, they they tend to, want to give that energy to somebody or something. There's some people that may punch a wall. There's some people that may yell at their significant or other or family member or whatever the case may be because they're stressed. And what I largely do is I I often yell at God. I will yell at spirit. I will be, if I'm upset, that's what I do. Even a lot of times when I cry or I'm just needing to get things off my chest, and I really do feel it be lifted and removed from me. And the first time I did it, I just felt very, very, very overwhelmed with everything in my life. And but I'm the type of person, like, I don't want to give that energy to people, really. I don't want to, everybody has their own stuff. How can I give this angry or upset or stressed out energy to somebody who's going through just as much as I am, you know? And I was in a position of, like, I refuse to give this energy to another person that is dealing with so much, even if maybe they are the cause of it, in some sense. And, I gave it to my creator instead. And the first time I did it, I felt so much energy released from me in a wave. And it really, just the Bible scripture that speaks about, give me your burdens, my yoke is light. That is what kind of came to me at that time, you know? And I understood, like, in a very big way, that it was always about letting my creator hold all of that stuff, you know? God doesn't care if you're mad with it. Your creator knows that there's a lot of stuff that you don't understand. You're a child dropped in this world, and it has a plan for you, and you don't know that plan, and that's frustrating and it's scary. So, what I just do when I did that and when I understood it that way, it just made it so much easier to some extent. Sometimes it is still good to have a friend to talk to about those things, a physical person. But I felt the largest or strongest understanding of feeling it released from me and just speaking to my creator. And I think it's because, our creator wants to be noticed by us and known. It wants to be there for us if we'll allow it. Hey, like I said, it is it's a mix, because again, it is good also to have friends, to talk to about those things as well. But there's nothing wrong with having the conversation with the one who can hold it all or take care of all of that understanding for you, and uh, do it in a more definitive way. Because again, I do feel, it's not to say I haven't had other stressors and anxieties about things, but I feel like there's certain past understandings that I let go of or release from myself more so, and a more definitive understanding because I gave it to my creator, and that was very helpful for me. But yes, so there's nothing wrong with having conversations with friends and venting in that way. But I do think that in some sense, you know, that our creator wants to be there for us like that if we'll allow it. It's funny because I often feel like I feel like a child, a child that, sometimes bickers at its parent and is upset. But at the same time, I know that, my creator has the best interest or best understanding for me. That doesn't mean I always agree or like the situation or whatever the case may be. But it makes me happy to just have that conversation, in a sense, that open line of communication in that way with my creator, even if I'm not always happy with all the decisions or all the plans that it has for me. And I'm not always happy. Whispers of sound, you know me. So, I'm not always happy at all of the understandings pertaining to it, but I accept it and, I move on. And I think I'm also happy in the understanding that, I'm not in fear. I'm not in this fearful energy because I think sometimes people do sit in a fearful energy about being that way with the creator. You know, I my understanding and the open line of communication that I have with my understanding of source is gentle in that way. It's not expecting me to just not be angry or like there are certain things that I went through in my life to acknowledge and be honest with myself that I did feel angry with my creator, that I felt angry with God, that I felt hurt and I felt so much. I felt abandoned in many ways. And I think that to some extent there's certain energy that I went through so that I would acknowledge the truth of that, And I think I even had a realization about it too. I was like, wow, you know, maybe to some this is about me finally acknowledging that truth and not being for that are afraid. Yeah, I think there are a lot of people that are afraid to just have that open understanding with their creator. You can be thankful, but also you're human. You're perfectly imperfect. You're not always thankful. Just like with your human parents, sometimes they may get on your nerves and sometimes you may dislike certain understandings with them. That doesn't mean you don't love them or care about them or appreciate, whatever understanding they've tried to give you or bring you up in, you know, depending. But that doesn't mean that you don't have other emotions and feelings about it. And so, yeah, but it's definitely a lot easier now to give that to my creator than anybody else because again the next human being could be going through just as much and that's really what this space is about too. When I say this is about releasing things from yourself, it's not the understanding of releasing and giving those things to me. It's I'm being a channel to help you release and give that to your creator. That's it. And in that way, it's not that I'm holding on to the understanding for you. I'm helping and assisting you to give that understanding to the creator for you. Yeah. Release those burdens so that you can move toward everything that you want for yourself. Yes, you do. You do know. Hmm. Yeah. But I really think that it's important to get back to in some ways it's about reconnecting with your soul self in a sense. But I think my life is a lot fuller. No, I know that my life is a lot fuller by being able to have conversations with my creator. And sometimes I'll be honest, I'll just be, out in public having a conversation with my creator, and maybe I look crazy to some people, but I know that I'm talking to the energy that, gave me this life and is there with me, even if it's not in a specific physical body. And, that makes my life more fun and more enjoyable in some sense. And it's not something that I'll ever give up, having given it up before for other reasons. Hey, who that is? Let me see. You said you have a question? This is a really good question. So, I think I see it. It doesn't show it all on the screen. One second, I'm gonna finish reading it. All of those. I think it. So you said which one is the more frequent medium? I think that is the one that your that is maybe at that time more needed for you. For me, it's been through dreams, heavily through dreams, but I've also had it happen just through my day when I'm, connecting or communicating with people that, spirit will use those anybody in your environment as a medium to get a message to you if you're paying attention or you're allowing it. And so I don't think there's a specific medium that is the greatest. I think that your creator speaks to you and the one that is most comfortable for you. Like I had somebody on one of the past lives who was saying she had a dream about something and it was just very straightforward, and if you've had, prophetic dreams or dreams that kind of give you messages for where you need to go or head in your life, they're not always straightforward. But if you need it to be straightforward, then, if that's the best way that spirit feels you'll understand it, then maybe it will be in that way. And, I use tarot as a tool, for mediumship in some sense. So there's that. There's so many different ones. There was a time where I was just kind of like at play in my spiritual understanding, and I tapped into so many different ones. But I think the one that's been the most significant outside of me using tarot has been dreams. That's been the most significant one for me. It has been through other people in my environment, signs and synchronicities, but the main one has been through dreams for me. Mm. I hope that answered your question, who that is. And thank you for being here with us today. Is there a specific form or of medium that you feel that you've most heavily felt the creator speaking to you about who that is? And whispers of sound, you said you don't believe you should know in your past. I'm not sure what that was for. Ah, good book, by the way. I'm glad I'm rereading it and taking my time doing so. I've shown it before in the first live I did. It's called Manuscripts Found in Accra by Paulo Coelho. It's a very, very great read, and it really talks about just the different ways of knowing God as you choose to, and it's a really great book. Yeah. Okay, yes. I see what you're saying, whispers of sound. And I'm sorry if I'm just seeing your messages because there is kind of a lag with the chat. Yeah, me not willing to give up my connection to the creator. Yeah, it took me I gave it up, for my own reasons in the past, because it felt I felt like again, I felt a sense of abandonment. A lot had been done, but I was also raised in a way that, I would never be in a sense or show my anger or upsetness, towards my creator. I just walked away from the understanding and finding my way back. I could never give it up again. Yeah. Mm. Where do you need to tune in to focus more to be able to hear those messages as they come in? Okay, I get what you're saying. You know, there was a time stepping back in, it's funny because stepping back into connecting heavily um, with spirit, with my creator, I did have a time where I felt like it disconnected again after I reconnected, and I was confused by it. I was like, "What's going on?" And they actually seem to have kind of like a name for it. It's called being in the void understanding of energy. And I don't know if this is what you're experiencing, it could be the understanding there are things that are being moved from you or being released from you, and you're getting to it's almost like a limbo or a waiting process to get to the other side of that understanding. And so it may be that there's not a understanding that you're needing at this time. And so it's more about just trusting that spirit is guiding you towards a certain understanding, you know? So one thing about it is that it's never I don't think that it's ever that, spirit isn't hearing us or we are not having the connection with it. I think that there's some times where silence could be needed or necessary. And we in our human way, like we think that there's always a sense of a message that must come and in the form of words or in the form of understanding. But sometimes, silence is just as necessary too, and it could be that void energy that I was speaking about, where you are in the process of releasing certain things to begin to receive other understandings. It's kind of like if you're at a bridge and you're waiting for the bridge to be let down before you step into something else. Okay, is this, I see someone here wanting to come on for a live chat. You don't want to be seen? You can turn off your camera if you don't want to be seen. And I think you're muted, by the way. And oh, I see we have someone here asking, what belief is this? Are you asking me what I believe in? Is that the question? Okay, so you were asking about the topic. And so it's not a specific topic. I slept with your mom. It's not a specific topic. Um, this, w- we're just having a space for people to release, or if they have a question, a advising question that they're wanting some assistance with, then I'm offering that. But it's not a specific topic. You're starting to You're welcome. I slept with your mom, and you're starting to feel like the void, the energy doesn't want to release you. I understand it can, you know, I say this. having experienced a long understanding of that void energy. As a matter of fact, I went through one understanding that was a void energy, and then it seemed like I was dropped back into another one. So it can feel like that sometimes, but it may also be a testament to what you've done. Like when I had those experiences, it was a testament to how much I had released and how much I was working to basically change my life in a way of quantum leaping. It sounds like that's what you might have done. And the thing about, I don't know exactly what you've done in your environment, who that is, but the thing about quantum leaping timelines, everybody doesn't, if you even if you've never heard of doing so, a lot of times people do it accidentally. And the thing about it is that when you do quantum leap or you do shift and change everything in your environment so intensely, when you do that, you are essentially in the process of waiting for things to be created for your new understanding. Literally, when I went through the process, that void energy, I was like, what is going on? There should be more. I know I've done so much. But then, literally, like new understandings that had never existed before started to come in. There are so many things that I've utilized from shifting and changed my life that they didn't exist to like years, that they were just coming into existence as I was beginning to use them. So I'll say, for instance, there's a company with one of the websites that I have that it just literally was coming into existence for me to be able to use it on the one of the websites I own. And there is also a living situation that I was in. Literally, the home that I was in, living in at that time, it had just been built like a few months before. So it could also be who that is. That whatever you've done in your environment, it's the understanding of you've changed and shifted things so much that it's going to require time. For you to see that, hey, it's not that you were ever left out. It's like you did so much releasing, you did so much moving and so much shifting and growing of your timeline that that other side of things is trying to catch up with you. So like it could be that understanding. I'm not sure exactly everything that's going on in your situation, but it could be that too. Yeah. I've This is not the first time I've had somebody say they've experienced a lot of void energy, and it's just a testament to everything that you've done to releasing your environment, though. But that makes me excited for you as well. That makes me excited for you. Just have somebody in the private chat like that's wanting to come on. I can't hear you yet. You're still showing up here. I grade you out, but I still can't hear you as far as if you were wanting to come on. Let me see. Yes, you should be able to press a button on your end to turn on your microphone. But I have the volume for you all the way up, but you have to do that on your end. But yes, who that is, that makes me excited for all the things that are coming for you. This void energy that you're experiencing. Yeah. No, yep, I'm excited for you because I I'm telling you, having experienced it more than once, and sometimes I think that spirit has put me through certain understandings to help give that message that it is about the fact that you've done a lot and there is a lot coming for you, and it's probably going to be very big. Yeah. So you put in that work, you're going to get that understanding. Yeah. But that means you've been putting in that work for real. It sounds very much like you have been. So I actually do. For this channel itself is me doing spiritual advising. I also read tarot and do um, Trinity Reiki. So that is essentially what I do here. This space that I've created here at this time is for opportunity for anybody who has a desire to release anything from themselves or to come in and would like to ask advice. But I do actually have a website, and it's linked in my bio on YouTube. Also, you're on Kick, so it is also linked on Kick as well, and on Twitch too. And you can go there and view what I offer as well, or make an appointment or anything of that nature. Okay, so you said you have it on. I don't hear you. It could be just that because I grayed you out, it's not allowing the sound to come through. Do you want to turn off your camera or did you want to be on camera? Okay, there you go.
Cool. I can't hear you now.
Hmm. This may be a connection thing then, because I hear you perfectly fine.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
So what's going on?
Well, now I'm behind in the conversation, but I was gonna talk about the void. Ask you more about what essentially is the void that you're talking about.
You said what essentially is the void that you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Can you explain what that
Yes.
is like?
So basically, in the process of releasing from yourself, in the process of taking action and trying to shift your environment, there may come a time when you are going through that process, you'll see yourself receiving messages here and there, and you are getting messages coming left and right. It could be through synchronicities, it could be through dreams, it could be through so much. And then all of a sudden, it seems like all of that stops. And you feel like it's almost like maybe your life before you went into this spiritual understanding or trying to move things forward returns to quote unquote normal, but not exactly because you still feel the disconnect and the difference in some sense. And so that's kind of what I'm speaking of pertaining to that void energy. That void is like, well, what is when you are not receiving the messages or when you feel like nothing new is coming in and you feel like you're waiting and you're like, what's going on? That understanding.
Okay. Yeah, I have felt that in like sporadically throughout the years, so I can understand that.
Mm. And I notice it seems to happen a lot when you are changing and shifting timelines so much. You know,
Oh, yeah.
it takes a lot out of you. And who that is you said, give me one second. So you said you don't feel like you've been doing anything, but you've been trying to find that balance and contentment. So when you say you don't feel like you've been doing anything, but you've been trying to find balance, you know, there have there been actions that you've been taking towards finding that balance for yourself? And B, you said you've experienced it, and well, we know each other, so I know that you've experienced a lot of that, but you've also done a lot of shifting and changing for yourself.
That's true. Yeah. I definitely have, but like there are definitely months where, where we've talked about having those dreams and then these synchronicities and like just like the universe throwing everything at you. Like both you
Mhm.
and I have been annoyed by it and shared our experiences about it. But then other times, like I'll just get one synchronicity here or there, no dreams. Like I haven't had any dreams I remember lately, or just dreams that don't make sense. And then I'll get the synchronicities in the strangest forms, of course, but that's kind of like what that's like. But then you feel like this energy too, where you're just, you feel like you're going through these cycles and not necessarily to learn a lesson, but it's like, God, I just went through this. Why do I have to go through this again? You know?
Yeah.
And it's like it's never changing. And for me, that feels like that's kind of part of the void too.
Mhm.
So frustrating and like anxiety inducing for sure. And I know that we're supposed to let go of all our anxieties, but whatever. That's not that easy to do.
Well, I think that, because of the human condition overall, it's
Mhm.
not it's not about letting go all of your anxieties, you know? That's like saying, "Stop being human." You
Right.
are you're perfectly who you're meant to be in that sense, and I think it's, again, more about acknowledging it, and as much as you can allowing it to have its moment overall, you
Yeah.
know? But I definitely because it's like life isn't gonna stop, you know? Life
Mhm.
doesn't stop, and the things that you have to navigate through, they're not going to stop. It's about, accepting whatever version of yourself is necessary for that moment, whichever version that can be, that needs to be at that time. But
So
never what I say it's about and releasing and letting go, thinking that all your anxiety is going to be gone forever. But I think that, I can say that the change or this process that I've experienced, you just you learn to really go with the flow of the understanding. You see how you really are in control over and over again. And so
yeah,
there's a sense of like there has to be something in control of this on this because it is not me.
yeah. So true. And like you're right, anxiety doesn't forever go away. It just transmutes into something different, like all energy.
You said when you say you haven't done anything, I have been more so proactive in doing my best to shed the old being and work towards nurturing the inner child that I neglected for a long time. That I, that sounds like you're doing exactly what you need to do. When I lost that, I lost myself, and I'm trying to get that balance to bring that past and present together. That is why I say I haven't been doing anything. It seems so many other people do so much. All you need to do is just be. That's it. I'm not saying that, you know. So I had a friend. Actually, I made a post about it because I posted a video on YouTube about it. A friend was telling me how she saw something that kind of made her feel like she wasn't doing enough, and it kind of made me upset because somebody was saying if you're not, basically getting into some type of spiritual practice, then you're wrong and you need to do better. And everything is a spiritual practice. When you open your eyes, that is a spiritual practice. When you do your hair, that's a spiritual practice. When you breathe, you are a spiritual entity just by your existence. And that is enough. You are doing enough. And when you need to do those other things, you'll feel pulled to do so. If you just trust your soul self to guide you, it's there's a part in this book I haven't gotten to it yet. I wish I had, and I wish I knew what page it was on. But it basically talks about um, how this person it's like he says something similar to what you're kind of saying, and he's like, what if you don't have any religious understanding or you don't know any of these ways or anything like that? What do you do then? And the person advising in the book, he says, you are already to source, you're already connected to your creator, and you know it's not to he was speaking those, and I don't know the right words to say. I don't know the right chants to give or the right dance to do, but I am here asking you to assist me and be here with me. All of those things, if you feel connected to doing it in that moment, there's nothing wrong with it. However, just be and trust that as you think your creator is listening to you, that is enough. Your creator is always there listening and being there with you. It's not that you have to do all of those other things. That doesn't mean anything's wrong with them. But trust that when the time calls for that, your soul will tell you. Our soul has knowledge that our human self doesn't need to have. So, in a moment, it may ask us to do something that is necessary for whatever understanding, and that's enough. And just the more you give over that understanding to your soul, the more peace or balance you'll have. But it's not about necessarily meditating or the prayer understanding, because every time you think is a prayer, every thought you have is that, you know? So I don't think you should doubt yourself or feel, especially after what you were telling me you were doing, working and connecting with your inner child and nurturing yourself. You doing that understanding. It's not necessarily about those other things. And actually, what you're speaking about, some people call that active meditation. Being proactive and doing those things. It's where you actively pay attention and you're in the moment with everything that you do, and it's a form of active meditation. So I don't think that it's not that you're not doing anything. It sounds like you're doing exactly what you need to do, and continue to trust what your soul is telling you to. And if it tells you to meditate or do yoga, or you feel pulled to do that, then do it. But if you don't feel pulled to it at this time, that's okay too. That is all right. Your soul knows more than you may know at this time, because it's heavy to carry all that knowledge. I hope that helps. And also for you too, Nika, you are doing enough. I know it's a lot. There's a lot that's going on at this time. I'm glad who that is. I really, really am.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I really, really had to go through a lot of understandings to realize that it's all about just giving as much as it's not easy, and it is a balance. Giving up as much control as you can to your soul understanding, trusting that this there's a certain level of trust that we can still be kind of afraid to have, pertaining to, am I doing certain things? But really, really, um, really, really, a lot of times what Spirit has said to me over and over again, just be and trust that I will let you know. I will tell you how to move. And then honestly, and there have been times where Spirit has, saved my life by me just listening, me just being aware. And so there's a lot of power in just being, and not necessarily feeling like you have to be so active in those other things. That time will come, whenever it time it is. But yes, this chat, I do think I'm going to start trying to set up that Discord for you guys as well. Um to see if it'll assist in like with questions, bringing questions in, even if for people that may not join the live, if they have a question that could be answered later on. That is, we have reached our time for the night, you guys, though. Thank you for joining me. And I hope that you were able to release or leave something or get your question answered today. And if not, if there's anything more, anybody that came on and didn't, feel comfortable saying anything. Let me see. You said, that's a really good question. So I'm going to answer this question before I go. I think that from what I've understood on this journey, there can be, I don't think that the desires of human beings get in the way of the journey. I think that they're a part of, where you are in your vibrational understanding at this time. And as you grow and you continue to grow and shift and change, either your soul will show you, reveal to you a way to bring that understanding into fruition, or it may, as you grow and balance, show you that maybe that isn't actually what you want. It just depends. So I don't think it gets in the way. I think it's about the level or the vibration, the mental state that you are at that time. I think all of those things matter. As you shift and change, you may find that certain things you don't want as much anymore. And then, these other understandings may make their way in. It's partially about timelines, the timelines that you're connected to as you continue to ascend and grow yourself spiritually. You prepare yourself to step into higher timelines. And the more you do that, there are certain timelines that you may feel connected to strongly, but then you may not feel as connected the more you ascend or the more you grow yourself in a spiritual understanding. So I don't think that soul necessarily fights you so much as your energy may move away from that as you continue to grow. There's sometimes where people try to hold on to bring it or hold on or bring a certain thing into this new level of ascension. And it's not going to happen that way easily or at all because that vibration isn't matched. It doesn't match. So the vibrational understanding of what you want, at a specific time may match a certain vibration of you. And as you continue to go into a higher vibrational understanding, not everything can come with you, even if it's pertaining to certain business ideas or whatever the case may be. And sometimes they transform, though. Sometimes they do come with you, but they transform and change. And maybe there's a better way that spirit, your soul or spirit wants you to go about it. And it will, because I've had spirit seem to take certain understandings away from me, but in actuality, it brought it back to me and said, no, see, it's that the vibration of the understanding that you were on that was trying to make you do this in a clunky way. I have a better, more efficient way. And now that you've let it go, because it's also about not being too attached to it. Because sometimes people attach themselves to certain understandings so heavily that it gets in the way. Spirit wants you to do it. And a lot of times with a sense of detachment so that you don't think. Sometimes people say, my business is my baby, or this understanding, or this is my cornerstone. Your dreams and desires, they should not be your cornerstone. You are are the cornerstone to your dreams. You are the cornerstone. You're more solid, you're more stable, you're more here. And those things, they can easily be shifted and moved into other understandings like clouds. So never allow that to become your cornerstone. You are the cornerstone to all of the things that you want to create and have come to fruition. And at any moment, you can change your mind like water, you know? And Spirit has brought understandings to me. And it did it in a way over and over again, just to make sure I was detached from it. So I wouldn't hold on to it too heavily. It's important not to do that. It's important to be in a sense of like, I want this to come into this world. I desire for it. But if it doesn't, I know that I'm still going to be okay. I know that I'm still going to be great and that maybe my creator has better things for me. I don't think that it gets in the way so much. I think that it's really just the understanding of, you know, um, balancing through certain vibrations of energy and also growing. Yeah. I hope that answered your question. But I am going to go ahead and leave you guys for the night. I hope I was able to assist you, and I will be back next Saturday, hopefully 8 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully we get more questions in, more people coming along. I will also be dropping that Discord, and maybe anybody who has questions can put that in the Discord as well to possibly be answered. Thank you, who that is, and I hope you have a great night as well. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.